Okay. So, Rab Medic, I see you in the building. Shout out to my Bigo Live family. I'm also live on House of Healing LLC on YouTube. So, peace, love, life, and wholeness to you both, to you all. So, let me know, either one of you, if you're having, like, if you have any trouble hearing me, because I'm gonna try this again. Okay. So, I tried this last night. Was it last night? And I was live on both platforms, but my Big Go Live people kept, because I was trying to go live on the single live and do my downloads like I do on YouTube, and my Big Go Live people kept popping up in the box, and I don't know how to lock the box, and it was distracting. You know what I'm saying? Even though I love you guys, it was very distracting, and so I was like, let me try it with the on a panel, and then I can lock the boxes, and then when I'm ready to open the boxes, then I'll open the boxes. Okay. So a shout out again to my House of Healing LLC family, those who are here in real time and those who will listen to the playback as well. So I want to talk about the yellow brick road. Okay. Before we go in, I did want to take a minute to breathe. I am listening to 963 hertz. Okay, shout out to Native A who taught me about the 963, the God frequency. Okay, so yeah, I want to tune into this God frequency, and then I want to unravel the yellow brick road, and really decode what this yellow brick road is and how it pertains to the journey within the self, and that journey to self-realization, and who we are and where we are on that road. So I wanted to catch you guys off guard with the with the solar plexus chakra, so that I could just kind of get you guys in alignment with a little bit of sound therapy and Reiki. So I did want to fine tune the solar plexus chakra tonight, because we will be focusing on the solar plexus as we talk about the yellow brick road. So breathe as deeply as you can. Make sure that it is a satisfying breath as you listen, and then slowly release. So when I say breathe, I mean breathe in, inhale through your nostrils, a very deep and satisfying breath. And then exhale through your mouth, a very relaxing and releasing breath. And let the sound take you wherever you are led to go. Sound is a vibration, so we should not only be listening to hear it, we should be feeling for the vibration. So thinking about the the chakra system and the colors of these particular chakras, and I'm going to relate the yellow brick road and where this particular chakra is. Of course, if those of you who know and you can correlate the colors, then we know that this would represent the solar plexus, which is at the very center of all of our chakras. And it's also the bridge between the lower chakras and the higher chakras. So it would be the bridge between the lower self and the higher self. So if we notice, if you've paid attention to the colors, the frequency, the vibration, in the movie The Wizard of Oz, the yellow brick road is the solar plexus chakra. And remember that the yellow brick road was leading us to They were traveling on this road headed to the Emerald City. Emeralds, which are green. So the bridge from the lower to the higher chakras would be the solar plexus chakra, which is yellow, like the yellow brick road, leading to the Emerald City, like the heart chakra. I'm going to talk about why these colors are important. I don't care what their purpose, what their intention was when they, created this movie and a lot of other movies and fairy tales and cartoons that we will decode going forward. But I want my spiritual people whose third eye is open to be able to see this for what it is and what we were meant to see in it. So the yellow brick road is the heart chakra, which is at the very center of your being. It is your inner sun. It is the solar plexus, your connection to the central sun, your connection to the sun. And so from your very center, after you have risen from that higher self, it's like the bridge from the lower chakras, the lower self into the higher self, which when you cross that bridge, you enter in through that portal of the heart. And once you enter into the portal of the heart, which is the Emerald City, which is green, which is that love vibration that you see all around you in the trees, in the grass, in the herbs, in the emeralds, right? So the solar plexus is leading us to the heart chakra. So now I want to back up from the heart chakra. Okay, so the two bowls that I just incorporated into this 963 vibe that we have going in the background were my yellow and green crystal singing bowls. So the yellow one was the solar plexus, of course. The green is for the heart. And just like the yellow brick road in the Emerald City, and I know that I've said this several times, but I'm saying it because I'm giving. I want you to get these colors into your head, and then to get the visual. And I'm using hypnotic rhythm, okay, to insert these messages into the subconscious mind. And so let's back up, okay, and let's think about Dorothy and how Dorothy ended up on the yellow brick road. Uh, because it, when we go forward in the movie, we see Dorothy, meeting these people and having these adventures. But how did she even begin to travel down this road? So, in the beginning, I don't remember every little thing, but I do know that there was some sort of weather condition. I believe it was a tornado. Yeah, it was a tornado because the witch or something had gotten smashed by the tornado. But I know that there was a tornado. And I may be connecting up two different parts of the movie, but I think there was a tornado and she got like knocked out or something. And basically, Dorothy hadn't really traveled anywhere in this movie. Okay, she was basically having a temporal experience. Okay, and you can say she was having an out of body experience. You can say, it was temporal, which means, it was just happening within her mind, in her head, in her brain. It could be both. Either way, physically, Dorothy hadn't traveled anywhere. And so when she began to travel down this road, she was actually taking the path within the self. She was going within, which is what all of the sages and the gurus and the true teachers speak about. It's what all of the true teachers actually do. Because we know that that kingdom, that Emerald City, that she was traveling towards was the destination. And so when she was knocked out, she began to travel down that road. Now, some of us, we get catapulted again. I want you to also pay attention to how she ended up traveling this road, how she found the road. She suffered some form of trauma, okay? And some head trauma, something that knocked her down and knocked her out. Okay? And so when the ego self was out, the spiritual self was activated, which happens with a lot of us. And this is the way that a lot of us we find ourselves on this road, this path, the path to self-realization, this path to oneness with the body and the spirit, the path within the self to the kingdom or the emerald city of God. So she was knocked out. So her being knocked out, the catalyst for her, and I don't think catalyst was the correct word, but what facilitated her even finding this road was a form of trauma. This is very symbolic of how a lot of us end up on the path within the self. That path that when, because it appeared that Dorothy in her physical reality, in the 3D, Dorothy was knocked out and she appeared to not be conscious. But in her spiritual reality, she was very much awake. And that reality was much more vivid, if you guys remember, than the reality that she appeared to be sleeping in. Okay? This is very significant because it's like when we remove our attention from whatever we're focused on. In this particular case, it was this particular reality. And so when the attention is removed from that, the reality that we choose to focus on becomes much more vivid because we're giving it our attention. We're breathing life into it. And so this internal world that she was traveling into was a real world, but it was a world that she had never paid attention to until she was forced by a traumatic situation to pay attention to what's going on within you. Because if I remember correctly, Dorothy was unhappy with her home situation, and I think that she was attempting to run away. I'm pretty sure. Okay, there was something to do with running away, and she was trying to run away from the situation because she was feeling unloved, and they, like, as if they weren't paying attention to her. And in her attempt to run away, this is when she got knocked down and knocked out and had to take this path within the self again. The perception of these other people not giving me what I need, and then this trauma happening, causing you to basically do some soul searching, to travel within the self, to find the root of these actual feelings that you're having, that you're trying to run away from. But no matter where you go, there you are. And this is why she didn't get very far in the physical realm, but she was forced by the traumatic situation to travel nonetheless within the self. Okay. And so when she began to walk down this road, she started to encounter, this is when she began to encounter the friends. Now, I think that the first one, because when I'm looking at the visual in my mind, y'all, so I may have these things, the timeline or whatever, when she met the friends mixed up, but I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty correct, though. She met the scarecrow first. and I'm looking at The Wiz, okay, and I'm looking at it in my mind. The Wiz was one of the first movies that I went to see at the actual movie theater in Detroit. Growing up, and I was about 8 or 9 years old, and it was like the most amazing thing to me. And I loved the black version of The Wizard of Oz. Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Nipsey Russell, all of these were people who were, current stars. They were very prominent and famous, black people at the time. And The Wiz was a movie at the time, in the 70s when, um, it was one of the only movies at that time that had been created that didn't have any white people in the cast. It was a totally black cast, okay, movie. So this was something that was very different for us at that time, and I just loved it. It was very magical, and just everything about it. And so seeing it on the big screen, I never really forgot the details that and things like that. So in The Wiz, um, she met the Scarecrow first, who was in the Wiz was played by Michael Jackson, and the Scarecrow was missing a brain. Was it the brain that the Scarecrow was missing? Yes, he was missing a brain. Okay, and so she basically found him, and he was being tortured by the witches, flying monkeys. Now, I don't remember this lady's name. Mabel King. Okay. I believe. Okay, I just heard Mabel King, so I think that is her name because I remember her, and our spirit just said Mabel King. So Mabel King, she played. She was the mother on a popular show that was out back then. I think it was called. It was either That's My Mama or What's Happening. Okay, but either way, she was the Wicked Witch. Okay, and basically when Diana Ross was going down, and I don't want to say Diana Ross, I'm gonna say Dorothy, because then we can liken this to, we can compare this to the Wizard of Oz and also the Wiz, which was just the black version. And so Dorothy was going down the path, and she met the Scarecrow first, and he was missing a brain, and he because whoever had put him together didn't give him a brain, and so he didn't believe that he had a brain. And so he was the one who told her, if I remember correctly, about the Wiz or the Wizard of Oz in the white version. Okay, and so, but basically when she met him, he was being tortured by the witches, flying monkeys. Okay, now those of us who are a part of the spiritual community and know about the psychological community, the flying monkeys is a term that we use when we speak about narcissistic personality disorder. And the flying monkeys are the people who enable the narcissist behavior. They know that the narcissist is wrong, but because they are also intimidated by the narcissist, or they're getting some sort of benefit, from supporting the narcissist, they support the narcissistic behavior, and they help the narcissist do things like gang stalking their victims, and doing things like doing smear campaigns on their victims, or on that empathic person that they have targeted. And so this is basically what was happening when Diana Ross ran across let me go back to when Dorothy ran across the Scarecrow. He was being tortured by the flying monkeys that the witch had sent out. And the witch was very narcissistic. She was just a narc, right? The witch was very controlling, and she wanted to own the slippers that had been given to Dorothy by the good witch. Or I don't remember if I think the good witch was the one who told her to go down the yellow brick road. Now, the good witch and Dorothy represented. So the good witch was she was the one who gave Dorothy these slippers, and these red slippers enabled her to walk down this yellow brick road, and they were hers. They had been made especially for her, and the slippers were red. They were ruby slippers. Okay, the color red representing the root chakra, but even more more in the root chakra being very significant to her being able to walk on this road, because the root chakra represents the element of being of grounding and being connected to the earth, and your stability and your sense of security in the world. And so it's representative of that, but it's also very representative when we're speaking of the spiritual path within the self of your bloodline. Okay. And so you being the only one who can wear these slippers, being the chosen one because of your royal bloodline that leads all the way back to the most deep, or those of you who haven't discovered the mirror of the universe yet, the most high. Okay. When your bloodline leads all the way back to the most high, you are the owner of those ruby slippers. Okay, they represent the blood, the bloodline, and also the root chakra, which is again the sense of grounding, safety, and security in the material world. And so this represented Dorothy being able to ground herself in this new reality, which was really just the landscape of her internal state of being, and to begin to walk this road within herself, that people who in her bloodline, which would lead all the way back to the teachers who have come here that we give names, Jesus being the most famous and popular name, have walked this path as well. And so she was walking this path, and met the scarecrow who was being tortured by the narcissistic witch and her flying monkeys. So, for those of you who are not familiar with this term as a psychological term, Google it, look it up. It is a psychological term that is used to describe those people who help and enable the narcissist, which is exactly what the flying monkeys were doing in this movie. So this is significant of the challenges that you have as a chosen being walking this path within yourself. You are going to encounter a narcissist which is going to be pursuing you the whole way down this path, just like the narcissist. And it's not just, let me back up. It's not just this one particular witch. Okay. The witch she represents that dark, lowest self, that narcissistic element in the world that pursues God's people the whole way, the whole time they are walking down this spiritual path to oneness with God. And so the witch, the wicked witch, represented that enemy, that eternal enemy. And then all of these minions, the flying monkeys, represent all of these different forms in which this narcissistic element will take, and they're going to pursue you down the entire path. Okay. The flying monkeys again are just the minions of the energy, which is the core energy, which is the witch herself, which represents this narcissistic or devil energy that is the enemy in this world. Now, as I'm saying this, I feel some narcissistic people right now. Now they may be here right now, and I feel them, they may be are going to listen to this as the playback. And I already feel the intention of them trying to take my words and rearrange them and spit these words out as if they are their own ideas. Okay. And so I just wanted to point that out. I'm not even going to go into it. This does no longer irritates me. I just wanted to let these people know that I am aware, okay, of what you're doing. Okay. Just like Jesus was when people were trying to take his energy without him knowing it. I feel that. Okay. So, I know, and anytime I want y'all to know that even though I don't say anything, I see every time that these people take the words out of my mouth and try to spit them out as their own. And it's all good, because, what they can't copy is my soul, and what they can't draw from is the source, from which I get these ideas. But back to the story. Okay. So So she meets the scarecrow, and the scarecrow is being tortured by the flying monkeys, and so the flying monkeys represent this narcissistic element that will pursue you the whole way that whole time that you're walking this path. And then her and the scarecrow continue down the path, and I believe they meet the lion next. And the lion he was okay. So in the Wiz, I can't remember how they met the lion in the first movie, okay, but I do know that in the Wiz he was like, you know how you go up to a building, and because the movie The Wiz was set in New York City, and it was very urban, and so basically they were going up to a building that was like a city of a county building or something like that, and it had how buildings have like the statues in front, like the gargoyles or the lions or whatever, is like a protector of the building. So he was like inside of a stone statue, but they noticed that his eyes were following them as they were walking up the steps to this building, and they started to examine this statue more closely, and then he bursted out of the statue, and basically he was trying to scare them, but they realized that he was actually afraid of them, okay, and he was afraid of them, and this is the reason why he was hiding in the statue, and he was pretending to be so tough because he was actually a very fearful and cowardly lion. So this is you're making a long story short. So basically, he wanted to go to the Wiz. They told him that they were on their way to the Wiz. He was going to give, Dorothy was going to help her find her way back home, and he was going to give the scarecrow the scarecrow was going to get his brain from the Wiz, and now the lion had joined them, and the lion was going to get his courage from the Wiz. Okay, and they didn't even know who the Wiz was. It was just something that they had heard of. It was the great and powerful Oz. Okay, in the white version, it was the great and powerful Oz, and in the Wiz, it was the Wiz. Okay, he was supposed to be the coolest, whatever, and he has the power to endow you with these virtues and qualities that you don't have. And so again, remember that it was the good witch who told Dorothy about it was the good witch who gave Dorothy the ruby slippers and gave her the instructions to walk down this path. So the good witch represents Dorothy's highest self, and her guardian angels, her guardian spirits, okay, that are your guides to tell you which way to go and where to start and where to begin. And if you remember, the good witch would appear and reappear at different times, down the path, because this is your guardian angel and angelic spirits, and we all have them, okay? And so they come when you need them, okay? So I just wanted to point that out as well. And so as they continued, so now it's the three of them, and they're continuing down the path, and they meet up now with who was it? The Tin Man. Now, the Tin Man, I don't remember how they met him in the white version. In the black version, the Tin Man was Nipsey Russell, not Nipsey Hussle, my younger people, but Nipsey Russell, okay? And Nipsey Russell, in the black version, he was like they found him in an abandoned amusement park, and he had been one of the rides, or had been part of one of like the attractions that was there, but he had been frozen in time because he didn't have any oil to help him move, so he was kind of stuck, and so they had to find some oil and give him some oil, and so that he could move. And I think I don't remember what he wanted he didn't have a heart. The Tin Man, the person who had built him, gave him everything but a heart. And so he wanted to be able to feel, he wanted to be able to cry, and he wanted to be able to love. He wanted to know what it felt like to have emotions. Okay. And so now they're telling him, oh, okay, well, you can come with us. We're going to go to the Oz. We're going to go to the great and powerful Oz. We're going to go to the Wiz, and he can give you a heart, and then you'll be able to feel. So now the four of them are going on down this road. So before they continue down the road, and by the way, to my Bigo Live people, if you're coming in, you're catching this late, I'm just telling this story, and I'm also recording it for my YouTube channel. So if you did not catch this whole story, or this whole breakdown of the Yellow Brick Road and the Wizard of Oz and how it relates to our journey within the self, the journey to self-realization, oneness with that indwelling spirit that we call God, you can catch this on House of Healing LLC. Okay. Yeah, you can catch this on House of Healing LLC once I'm done with this, because it is being recorded as well. And also shout out to the people in my chat on House of Healing LLC. Okay. So now all four of them are traveling. Oh wow, I just got another download about this. Okay. So because I always talk about, okay, so you guys know that I'm a holistic healer. And so Dorothy, again, she's going within herself. She's been guided by her higher self in a guardian angel or spirit to tell her, in the form of the good witch, telling her, who gives her this divine birthright by giving her these ruby slippers, okay, that represent her bloodline, her birthright, to be able to walk on this yellow brick road and to take this path within the self, because only God's people have God within them. And you're connected by bloodline. You are royalty, whether you know it or not, and the bloodline leads all the way back to the most deep. Okay. And so basically this journey within the self requires balance between the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional bodies. Okay. So the download that I just got about this yellow brick road and the companions that she met along the way, the mental body would be the one who needed the brain, the scarecrow. The emotional body would be the one who needed the heart, the tin man. The spiritual body would be the one who needed the courage, which where you get your strength from, which would be the lion, who represents strength in the tarot. And I can break this down with the tarot deck. I can break it down on so many different levels, but let's just break it down on the level of this path within the self, which is the path to wholeness, and the path to healing, which is holistic, which must be mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. Hence the four friends that accompanied Dorothy on this path down this road. I just said something. I'm gonna let y'all sit with that for a minute, because I'm feeling a little bit of stress around my shoulder area. And who's ever stressed that I just picked up, y'all, because this is not mine. Okay, you guys know that I'm an intuitive empath, and I have just picked up somebody's stress. Let that go. Mount Sir, that's you. Why did I think that was you? Yeah, I'm gonna need you to release that, okay? Yeah, unravel that. Just take a deep breath and let me unravel that for you. And also shout out to the people in my chat on YouTube, House of Healing LLC. Shout out to my House of Healing family on Bigo Live. Yes, I am breaking down the yellow brick road and the Dorothy's path down this road, and how it is a path within the self, and how the witch, the wicked witch that was pursuing her and was sent out her flying monkeys to pursue her, represents the narcissist in the world. That narcissistic spirit that then has all of these different hosts represented by the flying monkeys that pursued Dorothy and her companions the whole way down the road. The yellow brick road representing the solar plexus, which is the bridge between the lower chakras and the higher chakras, the bridge from the lower self to the higher self. Okay. And the companions that Dorothy was meeting along the way while being pursued by these flying monkeys, by these narcissistic people, which all of God's chosen vessels and chosen beings are being pursued down that path by narcissists. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. And the flying monkeys, who are the hosts and the vessels for this narcissistic spirit, the helpers and the enablers of the narcissist who do the dirty work. um, the companions that she met represented, because again, let me remind you that Dorothy didn't go anywhere physically. Dorothy was catapulted onto this spiritual path within the self by a trauma to her physical body during a tornado, or something happened where she was attempting to run away from her dissatisfaction with her home life and her relationships with the people that she lived with her family and her loved ones. It was a discontent that she was feeling, and she was trying to run away. And in her attempt to run away, she suffered some sort of head trauma, which catapulted her onto this spiritual path within the self. Okay, because physically she didn't go anywhere. And at the end of her journey, she woke up and she was still at home in the bed. Okay, so she did embark upon a journey nonetheless, but the journey was in herself, which is what the spiritual path and this journey to oneness with God is. It's a path within the self, because the kingdom of God, the emerald city, okay, it represented by this green heart chakra color, because it is a journey from the surface of your experience within the self to the heart center, which is the green heart chakra. When you look at the seven chakra and their colors and their frequencies and vibrations, the heart chakra emits a green color, okay, which is the emerald city that they were trying to reach when they embarked upon this journey. The yellow brick road is the solar plexus chakra, which is again the bridge between the lower chakras, the lower self, and the higher self, which begins with the heart chakra and then moves on to the throat, the third eye, and the crown. So, so someone is releasing, and then I'm also feeling someone else's stress. So as long as I'm feeling it, I do feel like I'm taking it from you, and so this is as it should be. So anyway, the the friends that she met, again, she didn't go anywhere. So there were really no other people. These other people were different aspects of the self. They represent the mental body. The mental body would be the scarecrow who needed a brain, the emotional body, the who needed the heart, the tin man who needed a heart, the spiritual body, the lion who needed strength and courage, and the physical body, which was Dorothy. Okay. And so the friends that she met were just other aspects of herself that she didn't believe that she had within herself, which was why they were all together going to the great and powerful Oz, or the Wiz, to get these qualities. Okay, so again, the friends that she met were her companions along the way, but they really weren't there. They were other aspects of herself, because Dorothy didn't go anywhere. She was going within herself, okay, and meeting these other aspects of herself. This road is so, what I want to say about this is that these other aspects of ourselves, represented by the friends that Dorothy met on the road, would never have been developed had we not suffered that trauma that catapulted us onto this spiritual awakening, where in the physical world we may have appeared to be sleeping or to be sitting dormant, but we were actually cultivating that relationship with that indwelling spirit that has all of these qualities that we think that we need, but we need to go to the great and powerful Oz to get. We are, as we're going down this path, the further and further we go down the path, the deeper and deeper we go within the self, we begin to obtain these qualities, right? And we meet these friends. So we meet these friends, and they help to travel with us down this path. And the whole way, I want to always remind you that we are being pursued by this narcissistic witch and her flying monkeys, okay? And trying to prevent us from reaching this emerald city, which is the heart chakra of the journey. So we finally, after fighting the witch and the good witch appearing, coming in and out as the guardian angel, the guardian spirit, the spirit guide that we all have as we walk this path, if we're listening, if we pay attention to her, they are our helpers. They give us, clues and advice that we have to follow, if it's going to be effective for us. And so when they finally reach this emerald city, there were munchkins there, there were other people, there were other beings, you know what I'm saying? There were gatekeepers. All of these things are significant to your journey. The people that you will meet, the challenges that you will encounter. I believe they had to outsmart the gatekeepers in order to get past the gate. They had a lot of challenges along the way. All of these challenges, represented by the gatekeepers, are your rites of passage into each next higher level of experience, to each next higher version, each next best version of yourself. And so, yes, there were many challenges and gatekeepers and munchkins, and the munchkins were actually the helpers as well. You know what I'm saying? They were the fairies and the celestial beings and the little spirit beings and helpers that you have along the way. And so when you finally reach and you've outsmarted the gatekeepers and you've gotten beyond the gate, you reach into this beautiful palace and there's a celebration that you finally made it in the heart center. The heart is opened and the doors are open, and now let me go in. And you discover that the great and powerful Oz, which was your hope the whole time, you know what I'm saying? This was your destination and your goal. And when you got there, you realized that you discovered that this great and powerful Oz, which represents this God that people are trying to reach to and trying to obtain and communicate with outside of the self, was just another human being behind a curtain with a microphone presenting grand illusions, pretending to be your God, pretending to have all of these qualities that you desire. So there was a great disappointment. There was a great letdown. That this Oz, this great and powerful Oz, represents the ego part of yourself that has had to die. It represents this false idea of who I am. The great and powerful Oz is not even real. It represents the delusions of grandeur that the narcissist has of being God. And so when they finally reached the great and powerful Oz, it was all an illusion, just as your ego self is. And that illusion had to die. They had to let it go. They had to give up all hope in that dream of this outside being having all of these qualities to give me. And in their disappointment in the outer self, and in their resolve, in their willingness to release the illusion and the delusion, they began to remind one another of the qualities that they had displayed during the trip. So the the scarecrow, he needed a brain. He thought that he needed a brain. But the whole time, as they were going down this road, he was the one, when they would find themselves in a bind, or they needed to find a way to hide from the witch and the flying monkeys, or they needed to outsmart them, he was the one who figured out the plan. He was the one who told them what to do. He was the one who was thinking the whole time. He had a brain. And the lion, who thought he was very cowardly, when the witch and the flying monkeys would come after them, and he felt that the people that he loved, the other friends that were with him, when they were in danger, he became the king of the jungle out of love for these other people, because he couldn't fight for himself when he was, afraid of the things that he was afraid of. But when it came to protecting the people that he loved, he had plenty of courage. He didn't have any fear. He was fearless. The lion represents that self-love that comes in when he represents the protection that you have over yourself, and your peace and your sanity. He represents that strength that you obtain when you go deeper within yourself and you decide that I do love myself. Then when you know that you love yourself, then you're willing to fight for yourself. That love is stronger than fear, it's stronger than pride. It's greater than anything that's in the world, and you know this. And so you really become fearless. But the foundation of that fearlessness is love. So it appeared that the lion was acting out of love for Dorothy and the other people. But let me remind you that there were no other people. There was no lion. There was only Dorothy. So the lion represented her strength, her courage to stand up to whatever was coming after you, to fight it. Because I love myself enough to protect myself. The Tin Man, who was hardened, very stiff and hardened, like a lot of people's hearts. He didn't think that he had a heart. But when Dorothy would be sad and missing her family, wishing she knew, how to get home, and feeling hopeless, he would sing songs to her. He would hold her in his arms. He would love on her. He would give her visions of finding her way home. He would help her imagine it. He was loving. He was giving her love and compassion. So though the person who had built him had not given him a heart, because I want to liken this, you guys, to Dorothy's story, because Dorothy didn't live with her mother. She lived with her Auntie M. Why am I remembering this right now? Come through, Spirit. So Dorothy didn't live with her mother. We don't know what the story was with Dorothy. Now, I'm sure if you found the book or the origin of the story of the Wizard of Oz, you would be able to go back further and figure out why Dorothy lived with her Auntie M, and, her uncles and cousins and stuff. Maybe she was an orphan or whatever, right? And so the person who had built the Tin Man, who was an aspect of Dorothy, didn't give Dorothy a heart. Did not give the Tin Man or Dorothy a heart, meaning that she didn't know how to love, because she hadn't had that mother figure nurturing her, and she wasn't taught how to love. She didn't know what love was. So the whole time down the path, though, The Tin Man had been comforting her and he had been showing her love, even though he didn't know what love was. So at the end of the path, Dorothy, what she realized was that, because when she woke up, she realized that she hadn't really gone anywhere, and therefore these other people were parts of myself, because all I did was went inside of myself. And I met my wisdom as the Scarecrow, and I met my love as the Tin Man, and I met my courage and my strength as the Lion. And they are all aspects of me that I didn't know that I had. Because the person that built me, my mother, who is missing in my life, but who is very real in my dream world, in the land of Oz, she is represented as the ugly witch and as the good witch. My fairy godmother, to replace the biological mother that I don't have in my real life. My fairy godmother is my guide and my helper. And she is also the pursuer and the one who has hurt me the most. The one who is trying to take me off my square. This is a lot of your stories with your own mother. It is mine. So for a lot of you, your mother has been your greatest helper. She has endowed you with wisdom, strength, courage, and love, but not in the way that you expected her to. She has been both the bad witch and the good witch in your life. And she is within you as aspects of you. Your mother, you are your mother. Okay, so both of those aspects are within you. This is whether you're a man or a woman. And that mother, in some aspects, whether you're a man or a woman, can also represent your father. So the great and powerful Oz represents this God that we imagine to be outside of ourselves. And so at the end of the journey, they realized that he was an illusion, he was a delusion, he was an imposter. There is no God outside of the self. But in that same disappointment was the empowerment and the realization, that self realization. As you sit in the center of your heart, represented by the green emerald city, is that the imposter was an aspect of me, my ego self, that now I have to let go of. The great and powerful Oz is just a person. The delusions of grandeur, the bubble has burst. So as you suffer that ego death, as you sit in the center of your own heart chakra, the emerald city, you also come to that great realization and that reawakening as Dorothy wakes up from her coma, her deep sleep, whatever the sleep state that she was in. She wakes up and she realizes that I didn't really go anywhere physically. I went within myself beyond the great and powerful Oz that I believe myself to be, beyond the ego self, within the self, to actually confront my own heart, to confront my own thoughts in my own brain, and to confront my courage and my wisdom, to find those things and discover them within my own self, already there. Because the Emerald City, the kingdom in which the great and powerful Oz lived, the kingdom of God within you, is your heart chakra. And this is where God lives. This is where you will go to lay your ego to rest as the great and powerful Oz. And this is where you will merge as one with the lion, with the scarecrow, with the tin man, and integrate all of these qualities within the self as the self. Your courage, your strength, your wisdom, your love. And you wake up like Dorothy did from her dream. And from here, I want to go into, I spoke about the other night Pandora's box, and now I'm seeing Russian dolls. If you're not familiar with Russian dolls, I don't know the exact name of them, but the Russian dolls are much like Pandora's box. But Spirit is showing me Russian dolls right now. It is the same principle. The Russian dolls, you will have a doll that opens up to be a smaller doll, and a smaller one, and a smaller one, and a smaller one, until you get into that very center doll. That's the real person. Pandora's box is a box that opens up to a smaller box, and a smaller box, and a smaller one, and a smaller one. And as these layers of boxes are being removed, when you get down to the center box, inside that center box is where the truth lies. The Russian dolls and Pandora's box represent your journey within the self. It is the removal of layers and layers of delusion, illusion, untruths that you have made real and put upon you like a mask, or like an unreal reality that has several dimensions to it that need to be unraveled. So you can get to the center. At the very center of your chakra system is the yellow brick road. It is the solar plexus, the yellow chakra, which leads then, if you're going upwards and you're ascending, you're going to go to that next chakra, which is the green heart chakra, which is the emerald city. Beyond the emerald city are the higher energy centers, the higher chakras, the higher levels, heaven and beyond. And I'll go into those mansions, those realities, those dimensions and realms of light in another video. But I did want to give you these visuals of how you remove layers and layers and layers until you get to the center, because this is where the truth is. And the truth is that you are the spirit in the temple as much as you are the temple, meaning that you are fully human and you are fully divine. You are Dorothy, and you are the scarecrow and the tin man and the lion, but you're also the great and powerful Oz. You are that last doll in the Russian dolls. You are that last box in Pandora's boxes. You are the God of your own reality. And the path to you realizing that, the path to the self and making the self real, making that last doll your true identity, that last box that contains the truth, your true reality, is the path to self realization, oneness with God. It is the path to peace, love, life, and wholeness. Wholeness meaning physical strength, the lion, mental clarity, the scarecrow, spiritual alignment is all of these qualities being put together. The emotional balance, the Tin Man, the physical strength is the lion, and the culmination of them all would be Dorothy realizing that she is more powerful than what they thought of as the great and powerful Oz, that the good witch always wins in the end over the bad witch, that greater is she that is within me than she that is within the world. I am that I am. The Wizard of Oz, the wizard, the creator, the magician, the magi, the sorcerer of your own reality. But in order to become the true sorcerer of your own reality, to allow this truth to set you free, to actually create your own reality, you have to embody the four friends that Dorothy met on her road. You have to cultivate within yourself fearlessness, strength, wisdom, love. And these things must be in total alignment. The ego must die and you must awaken like Dorothy did at the end of her dream with a new appreciation for the life that you were trying to run away from. Because once you have embodied the truth of who you are, that you are the spirit in Pandora's box, you are that last Russian doll. When you become one with the self, and acknowledge the spirit as the self, then you go from being the subject of the story to being the writer of the story. So the yellow brick road is essentially the bridge. The solar plexus is the bridge from the lower self to the higher self. The bridge into the heart center, the Emerald City, where you align yourself with all of these aspects of yourself that you thought you weren't going to get from other people and other things outside of yourself, but you found them within yourself. And while you slept, the ego went through an ego death when we lost all our hope in the great and powerful Oz. And yet I woke up empowered because I didn't need Oz anymore. I didn't need delusions and illusions because the truth was sufficient. It was empowering. It was what had eventually set her free from the dream, because all she had to do to get out of Oz the whole time, all she wanted was to get back home. And all she had to do was wake up from the dream, my people. And in order for you to get back to remembrance of the self, to remember means to put back together. So Dorothy and her her 3 friends, including Toto, was 4. But Dorothy and her 4 friends were fragmented aspects of the self that needed to be remembered, put back together, so that now she's a whole person: mental, physical, spiritual, emotional. Lion, Scarecrow, Tin Man, Dorothy. So the path to wholeness is a road within the self that will lead you through the different energies, frequencies, and vibes that appear as colors. So the yellow brick road is the solar plexus, that road that leads from the lower self, the lower chakras, to the higher self, the higher chakras. It's the very center of your being, the solar plexus, connected to the sun, connected to the soul. So for those of you who joined me late on BGO Live, this is being recorded on YouTube, House of Healing LLC. I will put that in the comments before I go, my people. I would love to know what your thoughts are. So feel free to, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, and we can definitely discuss this, at a later date. The YouTube channel is in the comments. on Bigo Live. So again, once you have gone into within the self, and once you align with the self, and you integrate all of these qualities, and you accept all of these qualities as parts of the self, you will wake up from the dream. And just like Pandora's box, all these other dreams will have been removed because you open the box from the outside in. So as you are removing these layers, you are getting closer and closer to the truth. So if you haven't reached that last box yet, that last Russian doll, I encourage you to keep going. I'm sending you many blessings for your journey. And congratulations, because it's a beautiful journey. And the fact that you are on this road at all is indicative of the fact that you were chosen, handpicked. You are of royal bloodline, which is why the ruby slippers belong to you. The ruby slippers belong to you by divine birthright. So wear those slippers proudly, my people, and enjoy the journey.